Welcome everyone to this session on goal setting. It's something that is quite passionate. I'm passionate about it because I've been doing it for many, many years. And we did a similar talk last year. I don't know if any of you were there, but this is very much something which we do at least once a year, because I think it's a good time at the end of the year to consider um, how you're doing. Now, I'm going to show you a photograph of myself from roughly 1.5 years ago. I was much more slimmer, and it was down to a goal that I set for myself to lose weight. Since then, I didn't set a goal for that last year, thinking that I'd achieved it, and the result is that I've gained a little bit, few more pounds, and I just want to start off with that. And to introduce myself, I'm a consultant radiologist. I work for a number of teleradiology companies, but what's more interesting for me is that I'm a director of Revised Radiology, which runs the Southwest FRCR courses. Let's move on then. So, question for everyone on the call: put something down in the chat as to why we set goals. Why do we set goals? What's the advantage of having goals at all? So if we can have just a little bit of sharing here, we'd like to make this as interactive as possible. If you can write down why we set goals, that would be helpful. I just adjust my camera a bit to get a direction. Absolutely, to get a direction. Because 80% of all resolutions fail at some point. I hear about short-term goals keep you motivated. That's right. Short-term goals keep you motivated, but having a long-term goal also can be really helpful. And I think the importance is in focusing on your habits, learning how to set goals, and focus on making processes. Setting goals triggers new behaviors. They give a sense of mastering yourself, self-mastery, if you like. We have a comment here about focusing and achieving. That's right. It improves our mental health because it gives us something to look forward to measure ourselves against in our personal or professional lives. And if you want to do something extraordinary, you must think in terms of patterns that match your history and play into the kind of psychology you've got, and demonstrate that you work smarter, not harder. And a goal setter takes responsibility for taking action. So let's move on then. Michael Phelps, he was one of the most decorated Olympians of all times. He's won about 23 Olympic medals. And he started goal setting from the age of 11. And here is his take on goal setting. He said, at the age of, he said that when I feel tired, I just think about how great it will feel once I finally reach my goal. And he consistently used goal setting as a way of reaching success. Jim Rohn, who has come up with lots of quotes, he's a big motivational speaker, he said the discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. So it's important that between goals and accomplishment, you've got to have discipline. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. So what are some of the golden rules of goal setting? I would say you've got to set a goal that motivates you, first of all. You've got to get smart goals. You've got to set goals in writing. You've got to make an action plan. And you've got to stick with it. And we've got a comment here: for a busy radiologist, please guide how to prioritize. Tiring is inevitable, but to be motivated is a tough task. And I agree with that. It's quite hard. So you've got to set goals that motivate you. There's no point in setting goals that, and if I just take this quote here, It says if a goal is worth having, it's worth blocking out the time in your day-to-day life necessary to achieve it. So if it's something that doesn't motivate you, there's no point in having those goals. The second thing is to set smart goals. Now, smart goals, we'll talk about it in detail a little bit more. They need to be specific, and specific means you got to know what you will do and how you'll do it. They need to be measurable, so you need to be able to measure what goal it is. If it's to get a certain amount of money or to achieve a certain accomplishment in your professional life, maybe passing an exam, or maybe not passing an exam, but maybe getting some milestone in your professional or personal life, it's got to be measurable. It could be weight loss, as I set myself earlier, and I'm going to use this opportunity to do that again, set up some personal life, some personal goals. And you can say, I need to lose this much weight by this time. So having a precise way to measure it is important. It needs to be attainable. If you set yourself a goal that is like, I want to become an Olympic, runner within 1 year, and you're, already past your prime, and it's not achievable, then it's just pointless, and you have a busy job. You're not going to succeed. So you've got to set yourself something that you can attain and where you can visualize the path to success. It's got to be realistic. Okay, a lot of people set goals which are not realistic, and that means you've got to be able to visualize the results. For me, some of my goals were to do with getting financial freedom, and so I needed to make them realistic. I couldn't say that I was going to get get so many assets or whatever if it wasn't attainable. You've got to set goals that are realistic with your life circumstances. So in the state of an exam, for example, that some of you are going to sit, if you're in a busy job, I often say to people, why do you set yourself unreachable goals like, I'm going to pass this exam in 2 months, and you have a sort of, a very, very busy job and a busy family life? You've got to extend your goal a bit. So make sure that your goals are realistic, and they have to be time bound, and you've got to have a time achievement. And we're going to go through an exercise right at the end to help you with this. Okay, we're going to do it together. A goal properly set is halfway reached. Okay, this is quite an important thing. And I'm just going to read a few of these points here. So get yourself a specific goal, write it down. So we're going to do this together. It's got to be specific. It's be well defined. It should be measurable, as I said. It's got to be attainable. And then we read, it's got to be relevant to the direction you want your life and career to take. I mean, by keeping goals that are aligned with this, you'll develop the focus that you need to get ahead and do what you want. If you set really widely scattered and inconsistent goals, you'll just fritter your time and your life away. And lastly, you've got to be, I said, time bound. Um, this means that you've got to have a period, and then at the end of it, you've got to be able to celebrate your success. So, why do we set goals in writing? What I'd like you to do when you set the goals is not, I would like to, or I might. You've got to say what you're absolutely sure you will do. Okay. So, for example, if you say, I'm going to reduce my expenses by 10%, then you say, I will reduce my expenses by 10%, not I would like to reduce my expenses by 10%. So you've got to be able to see your goal. Okay. And the other thing to do is to post your goals somewhere where you see them often. I really do recommend, even in this very electronic age, that you either print them out or write them out and put it on a wall next to you. Or what I did once is I actually got it as a screensaver. I got a special screensaver that had all my goals written on them. And then make an action plan. and what we're going to do is that's very useful. You've got to have little small goals that you set together and then make it into an action plan. Les Brown, he said, your goals are the roadmaps that guide you and show you what is possible for your life. Um, Roadmaps, for example, that's something that we've just started in Revised Radiology. Actually, if you could share those links that I posted in the FRCR group, Maria, that would be very helpful. I've posted a few groups, a few things which are our roadmap in Revised Radiology for what we're going to achieve, and they're all achievable. We've got we know when we're going to achieve them, and we've published them as well, that you guys can hold us accountable. So stick with it. Okay, what are some of the common goal setting mistakes? One is obviously setting unrealistic goals, focusing on too few areas. So you should have enough to cover the breadth of who what constitutes your life, whether it is professional, personal, family, health, all that kind of stuff. You've got to focus on a few areas. Underestimating completion time is a big one, and also not learning from failures or appreciating failures and getting discouraged. So it's quite important. I just going to give two other ones, which is setting other people's goals, which could be your family goals or your professor's goals. You've got to set goals that you yourself believe in. And the other one I want to just mention is negative goals. For example, you might not want to say lose weight, which might be a positive goal for you. You might want to say get healthy, but you've got to define what get healthy is for you. So make your goals sound positive and attractive. And if you set too many goals, then that's the opposite of focusing on too little areas. That could also be too much, for you. So those are some of the other ones that I'd recommend. Now, you have the capacity, you've got the brains, you've got the feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself and direct yourself any way you like. And you know what you know who you are, and you can decide where you go. So you've got to become the best version of yourself. So unless you clearly define exactly what you want and understand why you want it in the first place, your odds of success are considerably reduced. And I'd say that by just attending this webinar, you've actually come on the first step. You've already got yourself on the way to accomplish. So we're now going to do a really, really interesting exercise. And I'd like you to do it with me. And I am going to just I'm going to put some music on to help you when we do the exercise. But I really do want you to do this together with me, and I think you'll find it a very, very useful experience. Okay.